Hello guys, today I'll be teaching you how to beat Valley in Zombie Defense 0.22s. Right off the bat, you want to zoom out as far as you can by typing the dash zoom 999 command. Turn down here. Ideally, you would want to look for a base that's surrounded by as many trees as possible in a big area, or it's not too big, not too small, because you will need space to build other stuff. And because this is a valley map, there's going to be abundance of ores around that you can look or scavenge and get rewarded early on. So it would be a good idea to look for those ores early on as well. Now there are a couple of players. I hope they're not basing with me. Okay, so first get your sheep as your first perk. You build another encampment, and you start making around 6 gatherers, and you have all the gatherers that comes out to patrol on their own. And once you found your first base, you can zoom it back down to whatever zoom settings is to your liking. I like around 1750 because that's what I usually play it in. 1750, it's my usual settings to play the game. Just have them scout around the gatherers that you make. In Valley, you don't typically start rushing all the farms in the very beginning. You'll want to have enough wood and gathers to be out, scavenging first. Then you can build a little bit of farm, but not too much, because you're already getting abundance of it, with the 6 gatherers you have anyway. Okay, just keep building farms. You typically, if you're new, right? If it's just like your first game, you don't want to wall too late. But because I play this game a lot, I kind of have an idea of how to place the walls fast enough to where I don't die instantly. As soon as the countdown on top right, that's when the zombies will spawn into the game, and they will come eat your brains if you let it. So you have free time, always look around. You might miss areas where there's ores that your gatherers walk past by but didn't really get to them. Usually around a minute or so, it's a good idea to start building walls so that you can be safe when the zombies come get you. And you'll be shielded by the walls. Typically, you don't need this big of a base, but since I play this a lot, it really doesn't matter what size of base I have. Like, I would choose purple's base if I could, but they already took it early on, so I wouldn't do what blue does, nor would I do what yellow does. Alright. So definitely start walling early and not do what I do, because if you don't react fast enough, you will die. Okay. I'm operating at like a suboptimal level right now because I don't generally talk and play the game at the same time, because the game itself, it's already task demanding, and the level of difficulty, it's already rather high for beginners at least. And you will have You will want to have about 9 farms, ideally. I made mine a little late. I could have done better, but because I'm talking, you know. Okay, you want to make your first pebble towers 1 space away from the wall, because you don't really intend to keep them long term, where the zombies later in the game will have bombers that can explode and break through your walls. This is a pretty task-demanding game, so if you're somebody who enjoys the game like Warcraft 2, this game mode, it's definitely for you, and it's a good idea to keep playing. So over here I would kill my sheeps to rush tier 2 real quick so that I can get my tier 2 perk. Yeah, I would look around and see if any zombies are hitting your walls that you can't really target or hit, like these zombies right here, and just built like a little thing here. At around 26 minutes is when you have to really worry about your defenses, at least from when you're solo. If you were teamed with another person, you might have to worry about that a little earlier, based on the fact that basing with another player is actually harder than it is when you're playing by yourself. I know most people would think the opposite of that, but in this case, it is a lot harder if you play with other players. You would get market and trade wood for gold. In town center, technology center, you want to research this stone wall here. Okay, this wall might go down. Okay, creating that. 2 of my workers have already died, which is not ideal. Since I wasn't really watching, it is what it is. Alright, now since you got your auto repair, it basically gives you auto regen for your walls that are stone and above, but wood walls don't get the health regen that it does, so you have to upgrade it. I try to keep my gatherers alive as long as I could, because once you're tier 3, or once you upgrade your colony center to a town hall, you can start unlocking the gold ores, and those gives you like gold ores like these, and silver. Gold gives you 3 each hit, and silver gives you 2. Iron ore only gives you 1, which is not great, but it is great in the early game because you're getting extra money without really doing a lot. Oh, let me try to fix this real quick. Yeah, don't do what I did here. I wasn't paying attention. I should be fine though. Basically trying to recover right now from the wall breaking. I should be fine. Just a little bit of misplay here. Just gotta fix it real quick. Boom. Done. Alright, now that's fixed. Now you could use your tier 2 workers. Here, let me unlock these ores. It helps a lot more if you can get your tier 3 early, because you can unlock ores and get a lot of extra cash that way. Built some roads. Roads are kind of needed for building houses and factories. It's part of the prerequisite to get those buildings together. And those are what I call generally the end game buildings, because it gives you a good income. Now, like any other game, this game typically is a little different from the majority. Most people in the beginning will suffer and die and lose, and most people will quit because of that. You know, simply because this game is actually pretty difficult when you're starting out as a new player. If you find yourself having too much wood, it's always a bad idea. Like 2,000 wood to 100 gold ratio, that's a really bad ratio. You will want to keep it balanced in between, having just enough gold and just enough wood so you can do things freely. Now, I generally will want to make more houses, but since I play this game so many times, I kind of have an idea of what I need at what time. We're only at 22 minutes, so the defense we're gonna need, it's gonna be minuscule. Minuscule. So you don't really need too much defense early on, until the 20-minute mark hits. At 20 minutes, there will be some air units that will fly around, so you want to protect your woodworkers as much as possible by having archer towers nearby it. So I have about a minute and a half before they come, and we just start building some turrets around them. And I'm gonna get cement and this. That's my upgrades. And factories are really good with the tier 4 perk here. So you get 10 extra gold each time the factory takes and gives you wood. So you're not only getting wood, you're also getting gold along with it by getting the tier 4 perk, which is a win-win situation. And we're kicking this guy because that's what you don't want to do. Is that if you lose in this game mode, do not go to anybody's house, or do not go to anybody else's base, because all your zombies that you've been gathering will come and kill everybody. Until every single of your unit dies, the game will have zombies to keep chasing you. So it's never a good idea, and it's a very selfish idea to want to look for another base and seek salvage or seek refuge if your base goes down. So don't do that. Don't do what the blue guy did, because that's very selfish, and I assume he was new, so most people won't expect that's what happens. But that is what happens, since every player has the same amount of zombies, and until every one of your unit dies, the zombies will continue to chase your units until all your units have died. So, because this game was rather hard for new players, I would say 95% of the player base that play this game the first time loses after like 10 minutes or so. Kind of like what happened now. We start with 4 people, and now it's just me again. You know, it's to be expected, but with more practice, generally people do get better. So factories are one of the best income buildings you can get, and the earlier you can get them, the better. At around 14 minutes or so, you will want to start getting ballista turrets. But since they cost food and they cost quite a bit of cash, I will not get them yet because it is not time to get them. I suppose you could get them early on, but what's really the point if you know you don't really need it at the moment, right? So I'm gonna put all my focus into getting more cash so I can have more income to defend later. More is always better for cash because you never know when you will need more of it. Now at this point, you basically done. The tutorial is basically over, right? This is the late game building for factories, which is really nice to have. And you just keep building them until, you know, you eventually win. So right about now, you see your buildings getting attacked a little more. Send like a repairer or two, and have them patrol nearby the area. You can either choose to upgrade your archer towers, or you can just have the archer towers by itself, and then just build a ballista turret next to them. You would want to have maybe at least one ballista turret on every corner of the building, so you can defend your buildings, or defend your base rather. You see how I'm making all the ballista turrets and archer turrets 3 blocks away. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that, 3 blocks away from the wall. This is good for when the bombers come and they blow up your wall. Your turrets won't get affected early on. But later, they do have higher AoE ratio, so the big bombers, you really can't avoid that. So you just have to kind of deal with that late game. Oh, the tricksters, they sometimes blink and, well, they don't blink, they make clones of themselves. Sometimes they can get through the wall, so definitely watch out for that as well. In this case they don't, which is nice. I gotta be careful not to mine through the trees. Okay, another peasant to repair. Zombies get stuck on the tree sometimes. Ideally, that's the best solution since it acts as an invincible wall. And you can just attack it through the trees without hitting your walls. At around 14 to 13 minutes, you would want to have at least the gunpowder so you can have musket turrets in all corners. Otherwise the fast zombies might get you, and they shoot through the wall really fast if you don't kill them fast enough. Use the extra workers that I have. I hear I hear air units were there. They probably died. Alright, so this is generally the setup you would want for your roads. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so 4 empty gaps in between each road. I'm gonna start getting musket turrets. I have enough food, so I will make more food. Yeah, around this time, this game is basically has become a build simulator, or The Sims, whichever you would prefer. But it's a good idea to have a clean setup, so you have the farms are lined up in the same, square, so that it doesn't look weird or anything. If it looks weird and the farms and every other stuff are not aligned, it will take you more time to correct them, and in return it will cost you more time to get it right. In this game, it's always a bad idea to spend extra time to do things you don't need to do. Okay, again, I have too much too much wood. So I'm gonna start making some more markets. Yeah, so these fast zombies, when you see them, try to kill them as fast as possible. Because if there's 2 or 3 of them together, your walls will go down within a couple seconds. So that's never a good idea to keep them around for that long. Oh, and also the industrial factories that you're making, they have to be at least 4 squares away. But the way I see it, I just look at the house here. I go right here and start counting down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I build it right here at the 6. So just know there's a range. You can't build close. You can't build the industrial factories close to the houses, otherwise it would destroy the houses. Don't ask me why. That's just how the game developer made this condition, because he likes to be an asshole to everyone and make this game hard, which I'm actually appreciative, because quite frankly, I don't like easy games. I like hard games like these. Now, if your base is smaller, you can remove your wheat farm and make more space for industrial factories. But since I have a pretty well-sized base, although it's harder to defend, but the amount of space I get, it's worth it for me. Kind of like earlier when you see my walls coming down initially, I was a little bit worried about that, but that comes with big bases. It's that you need to watch out for where the walls will break in, or where they could come in from the walls. So we're kind of way past the point of where the tutorial matters. You can feel free to exit or just fast forward if you like, because there isn't really much else to do other than building and start setting up in-game military units. So eventually, when you get rich enough, you want to upgrade all of these. I usually go gunners first before I would even consider artillery, because gunners are they can get stronger as they kill more units, and they can attack air, which is what we're mostly worried about. Since the air waves come at 20, 15, 10, and there's a big air wave with a very strong air unit coming at around 7 minutes or so, and you would want to kill that as fast as possible. Alright, at this point, I think You don't have to do this with the amount of income I have, but I just do it just because I got nothing else better to do right now, because I do need wood, so. And these gatherers, you don't really have a need for them, so just kill them with your turret if you want. The reason why we kill the units that we don't need, because there's a maximum unit count that Warcraft allows you to move at the same time. So if you have too many of those units, they will get kind of stuck and sluggish, and you don't want to do that when you have a lot of army outside trying to defend the zombies. Now I know how I'm building really fast and really efficiently. Generally, on your first try, you won't be able to do what I do. But if you just practice enough and get used to how the game works, it should come easy. It should come as muscle memory eventually. And the way the zombie AI moves is that they try to detect if there's any openings around the walls. Typically they want to get to the castle or any encampments that you have. Generally your first encampment. So if you seal off everything with your walls and there's no entrances, the zombies will just try to attack the walls. But if you open one of your gates, you could make your walls as your doors, or gates rather. They will eventually all come around where this gate is open, and the AI knows the gate is open here, so they will try to come from that route. This is good if you have your focus power or your firepower in one spot, and you can, you know, just focus. Oh, what happened here? Whoa. So anyways, once you have enough units or enough soldiers, you know, you can open a gate if you choose to and kind of direct most of the zombies' attention to one area. They sometimes will still come to the walls, but the new spawn zombies will come to wherever is open here. So it's never a bad thing to open it this way if you have enough soldiers. Now this is the airwave that I'm talking about. It's got a 1.5k health and is rather strong. They generally like to target workers or any units that are moving. So you can bait it out sometimes if you want. Since right now I'm very ahead, I can go to the center if I want to and just hold off there until, you know, I win, until the zombie comes out. Generally you want to make machine gun pillboxes nearby the walls like these right here. But I'm kind of too lazy to do that, so, and I don't really need to, I feel like, so I'll just leave it as it is. And if you get really ahead, you can actually go to the center like I do and start making machine gun pillboxes and start surrounding the center. This is where the boss will come out from the graveyard. I I would if you do what I do without pillboxes, you would want to get to a corner and press H on the soldiers because their range is kind of short. So if they lose the range, the attack range of the mobs, they will start doing weird stuff like going around the open area here. So yeah, the end games are basically houses and factories. That's really the two major income resources you're gonna need. Lumberyard, although it can regrow trees, it's really not worth the resource to regrow it in this case. Because in Valley the trees don't die, and even if they do die, it's not necessarily worth it to have them grow back and do the whole thing again. It's better to have industrial factories and just go off of that. Right now I'm just doing this because I can. Yeah, so once you play this game for a good while, I played this game way too much, it starts to become easy for you, so you can do stupid stuff like these and not really have a care in the world. So spread them around. Close this up. Yeah, now it's just it's pretty much a waiting game now. Just waiting for the boss to come up and show up, and you could kill it and win the game. There isn't really much going on after you set up the entire game, or the entirety of your late game. So right now, we're kind of just killing time. Got about another minute. Missile silos are pretty good against big units like the Defilins. The Bone Splitters that you saw is like a Hydraless model from StarCraft, and they're kind of strong in this map. But if you use the missile silos and you aim it correctly, it's kind of slow. I'll show you. So you can cast it, and it opens up. It'll take a while before it shoots, and they do a lot of damage to units in general. So yeah, if you're behind, it would be a good idea to have them nearby your base. This is the boss. Well, now all we have to do, since we killed the boss, we have to kill the surrounding zombies and every single last one of them. Now, this is the boring part, so I'll just let it happen, I guess. full units to the outside and whatnot. You can choose to open gates if you want. Actually, I wouldn't recommend that. It's just the fact that I'm very ahead of the game. I could do stupid shit like these and not really get punished for it. Not that I think I would anyway. You have a couple of gunners dying here and there, but that's okay. Ideally though, if you are kind of behind, you would want to keep as many of these walls up as possible, but have one open entrance. And what you could do is, with the open entrance that you do have, you can spam brick blocks here. And then they will be used as covers, so the zombies will hit these wall blocks while you can have gunners in the middle of these things and shoot for you. Alright, that concludes the Valley map. I will do the next map now. Thanks for watching.